y'all, welcome back to another video, or welcome if it's your first time here. Since we will be doing a gel X set from start to finish, I'm gonna actually start with the removal today. So let's jump right into it. First things first, I will be removing this flower because I consider this to be a charm. Even though we did make it with a silicone mold, I just don't want this thing popping in my face when I use my e-file. I do have protective eyewear on, aka my glasses, but I'd rather the e-file not be skipping, jumping, and hopping around. So here is what I was able to remove, and for the rest of the 3D elements, I'm not too worried about it. So now I'm gonna go ahead and clip down the length because this will speed up the e-file process. You can file down the entire length if you want, but I like things quick as possible. So basically I'm going to be taking this tool here. These are called extension cutters, at least that's how I find them on Amazon, so that's what I'm going to call them. I'm going to line the blade up right above my natural nail just to make sure there's a little bit of room so I don't accidentally cut my natural nail. This thing is very, I won't call it powerful because there's no like battery or something in it, but it is able to cut through your natural nail, so please be careful. Once the length is gone, I'm going to pull out my e-file, and today I will be using the Pana 5-in-1 bit. For me, this is one of the most versatile bits that I own. I use it for removal, sealing cuticles, just a little bit of everything. So I use this one a lot. What we're doing here is removing the polish from the extension. So we want to get down to the clear part, but not get down to our natural nail. Make sure you have your e-file at a comfortable speed and don't apply too much pressure. This is where I see a lot of people damage their nails in the removal process because they'll put the e-file up at like 30,000 RPM, think that they're getting it off faster, when really you'll get it off faster all right because you're not going to have any nails left. I'm kidding, but really be careful because you don't want to mess up your natural nails. So now we need to remove these extensions completely off the natural nail. So I need to soak these off. I do not have a peel off base coat under this like I normally do. So I just want to be clear, it's not going to come off with the oil. So I'm going to do a soak off with acetone, cotton balls, and aluminum foil. For my cotton balls, I really like to break them up into smaller pieces so they will look something like this by the time I'm done. And do you remember as kids how our science teachers used to have us break apart the cotton balls to make clouds? That's what we're doing here. Then I'm taking aluminum foil sheets and tearing them from top to bottom vertically until I get small rectangles that I can wrap around my finger. Before I even begin soaking off, I like to protect my skin using petroleum jelly. I'm placing this on my skin, trying not to touch the nail. If it does, it's really not that big of a deal. But really, I want the focus to be on the skin so that there's a barrier, because what ends up happening is when you wrap the aluminum foil, sometimes the acetone will drip downwards and touch the skin. I just want to make sure things aren't getting too dry around these parts. Next, I'm going to grab a cotton ball and place it directly on top of my aluminum foil rectangle, and then grab my acetone. As you can see, I got mine from Marshalls for $3.99 because I forgot to take off the tag. I'm going to put a little bit of this on the cotton ball. Make sure not to put too much because you don't want the acetone dripping down the aluminum foil and defeating the entire purpose of it. And then I'm going to wrap the foil around my finger. It should be on there pretty tight, but don't make it so that you can barely move your finger. That little piece that's sitting at the bottom, go ahead and fold it inward. Now I have my fingers wrapped up like the Avengers. I'm gonna go ahead and sit here for 15 minutes, enjoy my Moroccan mint tea, and then 15 minutes later, it's going to look something just like this. It looks very gummy, and that's exactly what we want. I'm gonna grab this tool here to remove the gel off of the nail. When you run this tool across the nail, it should start to crumble off. You shouldn't have to pull, tug, be rough. If you do, you need to put the aluminum foil sheet back on and soak for an additional 5 minutes. So the extensions are fully removed from my natural nail, so let's go ahead and do some prep. I'll be using the milk remover here from Jello Jello and placing it around the cuticle area. Then I'm going to let it sit for a couple of seconds. Grab my cuticle pusher tool and gently push back. This tool is double-sided, so I'm going to flip it to the other side, move it from left to right, and get some of that dead skin off of the nail. For the troublesome pieces, I will be taking my cuticle nippers and removing whatever is left. Now I'm going to even out my natural nails with a 100/180 grit file just to clean everything up, wash my hands, and then we'll be ready to apply some gel extensions. To get started, I am going to size the extensions. To do this, I like to put the size I think I may be right on top of my natural nail, turn from side to side. But you can see in this size, the 00, I do have a little bit of room, so I am going to see what the 0 and the 1 would look like. Size 0 seems to fit perfectly, so let's try the 1 so I can show you what it looks like when it doesn't fit. Something that doesn't fit would look like this. You can see there is space between where the extension is and my natural nail is showing underneath there a lot. So this is where you wouldn't choose this size. I like to use a peel off base coat because I switch my nails once a week. But if you are someone who wants long lasting nails, go straight in with the dehydrator, a primer, and then take the gel that you're going to be using to apply the extensions and put a thin layer on your natural nails and cure it. The peel off base coat I am using does not work well with a dehydrator or a primer, so I will not be using either one, but what I will be doing is buffing the nail. This peel off base coat I noticed lasts for about a week to 2 weeks if I buff the nail. If I do not buff the nail at all, it doesn't even last me a week, and because I need these nails on for a good 7 days, we're gonna buff the nail and then I'm gonna apply a thin layer of this and cure it. If you want your gel extensions to last and you're not using a peel off base coat, I do recommend taking the Gel X Prep and etching the bottom half of the extension, or you can do this with your e-file. But like I mentioned earlier, I do want these to pop off without too much pushback. So I won't be doing this for all the nails, but I did want to show you what you can do if you want to increase the wear time of your extensions, and it'll look something like this by the time you're done. To attach the extensions to my natural nails, I will be using the Yogo Zombie base gel, but when you apply your gel on the bottom half of the extension, make sure there is enough to fully cover the length of your natural nail. Once we're good to go, I'm going to line the extension up with my cuticle area, press down slowly in a 45-degree angle, and then as soon as that gel hits the tip of my natural nail, I'm going to then flash cure. As you're applying your extensions, if you notice there's any gel seeping out the sides, please be sure to clean it up immediately. As soon as you notice it, I like to use alcohol to get it off the skin, because if gel is left on the skin, you can develop a lifelong allergy, so please be careful. Another question I get often is, why do I use the Yogo Zombie base gel to apply my extensions? And the reason is the retention is great and it's on the thicker side, so it's easier to work with. You'll notice that when I apply the extensions, I have enough time to leave the extension in place while I grab a cleanup brush if I need to. This is made possible because the gel is on the thicker side, so I think it's really great for beginners as well. We have the last nail on. We did do flash cures, but it's not enough, so let's go ahead and pop the hands into a bigger lamp to do a full cure. To get these extensions ready for polish, I will be using my e-file and a mini sanding band, and I'm just removing the shine from the extension. Once I'm done, I am going to go from left to right at the cuticle area to seal them. Since there's already dust everywhere, I'm going to go ahead and do some shaping and filing. It's not a lot that you have to do. I do like to clean up the edges and then wash my hands to get rid of all of the dust. So finally, these extensions are on, applied, prepped, ready to go. Let's jump into the nail art tutorial. Before I grab my patting gel, one of you mentioned that I should take a lint roller and remove the excess dust from my sponge before using it. You know exactly who you are a genius. I didn't have a lint roller, but I did have tape in my drawer, so I am using this first. Now I'm going to be taking my patting gel, and this is from the Diami Baby Boomer collection, and we're going to use this to add a little bit of coverage so that you can't see my natural nail under the French tip-like design. I will be using shade 505, and I'm gently going to pat right where you can see my natural nail. I'm going to do 2 layers of this, curing in between each one. For this, you do not need to cure in between each layer, but I do notice that the color payoff is better when you do, but you can do it either way. This color was really pretty. I think this is my first time using 505 for a design like this, so I was excited to use this. The key when using this is to make sure you tap off the excess color, because we don't want one area to be more pigmented than the rest, so this will give us even coverage. At this point, I'm not going to add any additional product. Whatever is left on the sponge, I'm going to use to go towards the cuticle area and then towards the tip so that everything is nice and soft and looks blended. And here is what everything will look like at this point. Next, I'm going in with my base color. This is from the Yogurt Nail Korea Bridal Shower Collection, and I just love this collection for base colors. I go back and forth between 53 and 54 a lot, but this one is more on the pinkier side, and I am going to apply 2 coats of this, making sure to cure in between each one. My base color is on, so at this point I am going to go in with a matte top gel because I will be doing an isolated chrome design. Now, you can either apply a matte top gel or buff the nail. Either one works, but let me tell you what I accidentally did. I decided to go in with the matte top gel, as you see me just do, and I ate lunch. For lunch, I decided to eat some pizza, not thinking at all about the amount of oil that I was going to be picking up with my hands, knowing that I need to do a chrome design. So I was like, I need to buff the nail to make sure none of the chrome sticks. So that's why I'm buffing the nail here. Next, I'll be using this product here, but I did want to talk to you about it for a little bit. So this is a one-step black gel polish. So basically the company claims that there's base gel and top gel already in this. I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to pretend to be one. So we're not going to get into the details of that, but that's the gist of it. So ideally, chrome should stick to it. And since I'm doing an isolated chrome design, I thought, why not use this? My design is like a wavy French tip. I'm just making a little squiggly here, squiggly there on both sides. And then once I have my outline drawn on the nail, I'm gonna fill in the empty space with the brush from the polish bottle. So I've used this product before and it really does what it's supposed to do when it comes to chrome. It makes it easier. However, the smell is too strong for me. I cannot tolerate it. So I will be looking for something else that does this but doesn't smell this strong and isn't as runny as this product. You're probably wondering why I just didn't use a black painting gel for this, and I just thought that this would be easier to use because it covers a wider area than my little teeny liner brush and my painting gel, but you know. So here's what we have at this point, and so I like the way things are looking. I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the process for the rest of the nails. I'm not gonna switch things up too much except for on the pointer and the ring finger. You see how the middle finger is like looping in the center, if that makes sense? I'm gonna make them kind of loop off to the side so everything is not the exact same. We're going for the abstract vibes. Y'all know I love a quick design where I don't have to think too much, lines don't have to be perfect because I get it done faster. The one thing I will say, let's say you mess up your lines and you want to clean them up, make sure you clean them up with acetone instead of alcohol. The chrome ends up sticking to wherever you cleaned up with alcohol. Acetone, much better to clean up with, in my opinion. Here is what everything is looking like so far, and wouldn't this be cool as a black and white design? Ooh, ideas for the future, maybe next time, but let's go ahead and do a full cure. Here is where things went left. At the end, we did make it right, but I do want to show you the entire process. So what ended up happening is I took this chrome, this is like a pink purpley shade, and I went to lay this on top of the black, but your girl messed up. I over cured this product. It actually tells you on the back to cure it for 60 seconds to 2 minutes. So I decided to cure it for 90 seconds. Now I knew better. I have worked with this product before and 60 seconds is enough, but I don't know why I decided to be different today. So as you can see, the chrome is barely adhering to it. And I'm like, girl, what are you about to do? So I am sitting there scrubbing hard as I can with this applicator sponge, buffing it in, and I'm able to get it on the nail. But when I zoom in, you'll be able to see that there are spots on the nail where you can see the black polish poking through. So I'm like, okay, I'm not about to take off this entire design. I'm not about to go in with more top gel because I'm too lazy and I don't have the time. And yeah, so how am I about to fix this real quick? And fix it I did, kind of, sort of. So I gave myself some time to think, but I knew one thing was for certain. I could always trust the Gen B Crazy Top Thick. So I decided to take this in a thin liner brush and go around the edges, but that wasn't gonna solve my problem where the black is peeking through the chrome on the tip of the nail. So I'm sitting here, I'm thinking. After curing, I decided, why don't I take my glove, because it is textured, it has like a pebble texture, and I dipped my finger with the glove. Please don't do this with a raw finger. Then I decided to tap the nail so I can give it some texture so it kind of looks like aluminum foil. I cured this again and then went back on top with the chrome, and it helped cover up those black areas that was peeking through. So I was like, Okay, good enough for me. Let's go ahead and do this for the rest of the nails because that's all the energy I have to give to this look. And it turned out okay, but it wasn't what I had planned. So I share this with you to say, if you have some core products that you can trust, you can fix anything you mess up, okay? Because one thing's for certain, if I had to take this nail look off, y'all were not gonna get a video this week. I'm not gonna even lie to you. So I'm glad things turned out okay. After curing all of the Crazy Top Thick, I did go back in with the chrome for the last time, and you can see I was being a little messy. Honestly, I was a little frustrated at this point, so I was just wilding out, but I don't recommend doing this because then you'll have to clean everything up and it takes some time. So really, if I just was careful, I could have saved myself. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the excess chrome. Whatever I can't dust off, I am gonna wipe it away with 70% alcohol in this round brush here. Really focusing on removing the excess chrome from the corners and right where the curve happens. Once I'm done, I am going to seal the entire design in with a glossy top gel. This one is a no wipe top gel from Esmeo, and I decided to use this because it's a low viscosity and I didn't want to lose the texture on the tip of the nail. And before I cure, I am going to take a small liner brush. So I'm just going to move it down the nail and let it self level, but I just don't want it to bunch up right in that spot right here. So I'm gonna do my final cure, and here are what the nails look like all done. Absolutely nothing about this nail look is what I had planned, but I still think it came out okay. The only thing I had planned was to use a different color of chrome other than gold because I wanted to switch it up for you, but that's about it. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more chrome looks with different colors besides gold and silver, let me know in the comments down below and I can do that. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do so on your way out. But in the meantime, I will see you in one of these videos here.